Welcome students. So we are in the process of learning about the management of accounts receivables, and in the previous class we learned about that how to select the channels of distribution, and we have seen it with the help of a small example that both direct and indirect channels can be used by the firms for distribution of their products, but in the modern competitive scenario, it's better to use the indirect marketing channels because that has multifarious advantages as against the direct marketing. And one important thing is the reduction in the cost, which can be passed on to the consumers, right? So now in the next this current discussion, we will be now knowing something about that why receivables are to be extended by the companies, or why they should sell on the credit, right? What are the motives? Why companies sell on the credit? See, we have two sides. One side is the seller, another is the buyer, and both have the different motives. I told you sometime in the previous classes that the motive of seller is that he wanted to maximize the sales, and when it is not possible to maximize the sales on say cash, then he can think of selling it on the credit. This is the direct one objective, but there are different motives of the sellers. So I'll come to on those say motives of the sellers, but first we will see that what is the motive of the buyer and what is the motive of the seller. Whether it is buyer or whether it is a channel of distribution, maybe the retailer or the wholesaler or the distributor wants the goods from the manufacturer on credit, and then once that sales are made and the amount is collected from the buyers, then it can be paid back to the company. So let's talk first about the buyer's motive, that or the customer's motive. Maybe it can be anything, but largely if you are talking about the customer's motive is, buyer's motive is that he wanted to minimize the say present value of the money. When he wanted to make the payment, longer the credit period, and if he makes a payment after the end of the credit period or at the end of the credit period, so say time value of the money goes down, and he is whatever he is paying to the seller, maybe he's a retailer or maybe directly to the company, he's paying much less of the price. So his motive is the maximization of the say you can call it as from his side minimization of the time value of money, or maybe paying lesser. Rather than say maximizing the time value of money, he wanted to minimize the time value of money. He wanted to pay less, so he wanted to delay the payment, and delaying the payment is directly helping him. This is the one motive, that he wants to buy the product. In between, if you talk about the channels of distribution, why they want to buy on credit from the manufacturer, because they are not sure that directly we are buying say 100 color TVs today from the manufacturer, and immediately they will be sold in the market. They have to be stored, they have to be kept for some period of time. So he has two options: either he can invest his own money and then can say keep the stock and then sell it in the market, and at the later date when it is converted into sales, then he can pay the make the payment. But in many cases it may not be possible. So for him, because of the lack of availability of the funds, he would like to buy on credit from the firm, and once it is sold in the market, he would like to make the payment back to the manufacturer or to the company. Because here we have to understand one important point. When we talk about the easy availability of the working capital finance from the banks, even in India, that is possible in case of the manufacturer. Manufacturers has the easy access to the working capital finance, whether it in the form of say CC limits, or in the form of the working capital loans, or in the forms of say your discounting of the credit sale bills. That's only available to the manufacturer, not to the middleman, and say the channels, the middlemen, they have to invest their own funds. So the formal market, the organized sector, financial sector, or the organized lenders, they are not available to the channels or channels of distribution or to the say distribution network. They are only available to the manufacturer. So manufacturer can have a CC limit also, manufacturer can have the loans also, and manufacturer can have the bill discounting facility also, but the middleman, the distribution network has to be dependent upon the unorganized sector. And when they are dependent upon the unorganized sector, then the financial market tariff is very high for them. What is the financial market tariff? I will discuss that also, but here in this case we will talk about that financial market tariff. If it is very high for him, then why would he like to buy on cash? So his objective would be that to buy on credit from the manufacturer, keep it till the time it is sold in the market, and once the material goes to the customer and he pays in cash, he can remit the company's part to company, the manufacturer's part to manufacturer, and his own margins he can retain. So this is the objective. Buyer want to pay minimum, so he wanted to delay the payment so that the net present value of the money he is making, the present value of the money the payment he is making, that is minimum. He wanted to minimize the present value of the payment which he is making, and that's possible after delaying the payment. As far as the channel is concerned or the distribution network is concerned, their objective is that rather than investing their own funds, they should buy the material or the goods on credit from the manufacturer, and after selling it in the market to the customer and recovering the cash, he can pass on the payment to the manufacturer. Because for the distribution network, organized funding is not available. He has to either depend upon the unorganized market, or even if from the banks the funds are available, they are at a very high interest rate. So his financial cost increases. When his financial cost increases because of the increased financial market tariff, then he is in trouble. So he doesn't want to say be in that trouble, and he doesn't want to say put himself in that kind of the situation. So his objective is to buy on credit from the manufacturer and sell it to the customer on cash, in between recover the funds and pay it back to the company and retain his margin. So these are the three important stakeholders, and if it is the buyers, maybe the distribution network or maybe the customers, their objective is that they want to minimize the present value of the money which they are making the payment. Maybe the buyer making the payment to the distributor, or distributor is making the payment to the manufacturer. Now come to the next side, that is the objectives of the manufacturers. Why, or motives of the manufacturers, why they want to give the credits or they want to sell on the credit, why they are extending the credit, or why they are creating the accounts receivables in their balance sheet. We have already seen that this asset is also, we call it as asset, but to create the receivables in the balance sheet and generate the funds to fund the accounts receivable, it's a cumbersome task, and ultimately the sales are the credit sales, not cash sales. So in that case, maybe it's possible that they are going to recover the sales fully which are made on the credit, or part of the sales, maybe the bad debts also. So but still they sell on the credit, because we have already agreed upon the discussion, and finally we have concluded that selling everything on the cash is not possible in any business world. So we have to extend the credit. So part of the sales go on cash and part of the sales go on credit. So why they sell it on the credit? Maximize the sales, or maybe entering into the new market, or maybe any other objectives. So here for our discussion, I have divided the manufacturer's motive into three broad components. First component is the operating motive, second component is the marketing motive, and third component is the financial motive. One is from the operations point of view, he want to extend the credit. Another is from the marketing point of view, he want to extend the credit. And third one is from the financial angle, he wants to extend the credit, because by selling on credit sometime, he can maximize his return on investment, that is by maximizing the sales. When he is selling on cash plus credit, then total sales go up, so his revenue increases, his profits increases, though in this process he takes a lot of risk. So let's talk about these motives in detail. First we will learn about the first motive, that is the operations or the operating motive, and here the reason for extending credit in the market for the manufacturer is that there can be different situations in the market. One is adjust manufacturing process, second is because of the varying prices of the products, third is formation of the customer queues or product queues, and fourth one is allow receivables. Now he has the four options, right? He has the four options available, and which one is more suitable to him, which one is more useful to him as a manufacturer, he would go for that, right? He will prioritize all these options, and which one is more useful and suitable to him, he'll go for that. So first one is say adjust manufacturing process. See, when if it is a seasonal industry, then certainly there is going to be a problem, and if it is a normal product, still that is subject to the say cyclical trends of the market. Sometimes sales pick up and sometimes sales go down, sometimes there is a peak period, sometimes there is a lean period. So in all the periods he has to maintain the sales, and say when we talk about the festival season in India, the sale of electronics go up, the sale of your automobiles also go up. People like to buy during festivals, but when festival season is not there, still they have to maintain the sales. So maybe people are postponing their sales or they are not interested to buy, but in that case means manufacturing has to go on, because otherwise what will happen? His option is that if he want to sell on cash only, he will produce, he will manufacture maximum, and when the sales go down, then he has to say minimize, or he has to stop the production, or he has to lower down the production, he has to minimize the production. So in this entire process what he is doing, he has to adjust his manufacturing process very frequently, and adjusting the manufacturing process very frequently is not possible. So if it is not possible, in that case, if the production is going on at the same pace but sales decline in the market because of any reason, then what will happen? His inventories will mount, and when the inventories will mount, in that case his cost of maintaining and managing that inventory will also go high. It may be possible tomorrow that whether he is able to recover that cost from the customer or sometime it is not. So his option is either to adjust the manufacturing process. If it is not possible to adjust the manufacturing process, then what is the option? Either to raise the inventory or sell on credit in the market. If he is raising the inventory to avoid the say non-recovery of the credit sales, in that case he is increasing his cost, and cost is normally cost increases because of the carrying costs, handling costs, all these costs, but sometimes the cost is because of obsolescence also. Some of the material if sold in the market today and sold at say a later date, then there is a say you can call it as a reduction in the quality of the product. So that is the problem. So he has the option either to adjust the manufacturing process at the time of peak sales, produce maximum, at the time of lean sales or the lean season produce less, or produce accordingly. So what is the option? If it is easy for him to adjust the manufacturing process, he would be the first person to do that and not to sell on credit. But if it is not possible, then what is there? Either to mount the inventories or to sell on credit in the market, because people are not ready to buy on cash. That network, distribution network is not ready to buy on cash, and in that case either to give the credit. So if he is giving the credit, if he is selling on the credit, so what he is doing? He is converting his one current asset, that is inventory, into another current asset, into accounts receivables because of the credit sales. Though cash is not there, he is not receiving cash, he is converting that into the another asset. But when he is converting that, rather than from inventory to accounts receivables, if he prefers the creation of accounts receivables, then in that case he is passing on almost all kinds of the risks to the distribution network or to the customer. That if he is not mounting inventory, it is going to the distribution network, distributor, wholesaler or retailer, then it is his job now to maintain and to keep the stock with him. And for example, if he is passing on the product even to the customer on credit, though he has not got the cash, but he has passed on, he has delivered the product to the customer, and customer is bound to make the payment to him at the end of the credit period. So choice is always with the manufacturer. So this is the first option, that either to adjust the manufacturing process or to sell on the credit. There is nothing useful to by building the inventory, because that way he is creating the problem for himself. Sometimes it happens that even selling on the credit is also not possible. Selling on the cash is also not possible, selling on the credit is also not possible for some companies, for some product, for some period of time. For the time being, their problem comes. In that case, the option is that if adjustment of the operating or manufacturing process is not possible, then manufacture and store, then inventory will start mounting. I shared with you a case sometime in the past also. I have discussed with you the story of SAIL, Steel Authority of India Limited. In the late 90s, when the company had to company faced a stiff competition from the private sector companies, from Jindal, Lloyds, then your SR Steel. So because before 1991 steel sector was closed, means only open for the public sector players, not for the private sector manufacturers. But after 1991, after the liberalization of Indian economy, when this was opened up for the private competition or the private players, the steel sector was opened up for the private manufacturers, the private companies. Then SAIL had to face a big competition from them, and as a result of that they immediately lost the market. Southern market was snatched by the Jindals, even they were in the north also, central India also. Western market went to the SR and Lloyd. So it means almost we can say that 40 to 45% market they immediately lost. Now you see SAIL is a big company, they are manufacturing steel and having 6 plants and lakhs of employees and a big network and big setup. So for SAIL, it is not possible to not to produce and adjust the manufacturing process. That way the SAIL can do, but what will happen that there are thousands of employees who are working on the regular basis. Their salaries have to be paid. They will come to the office, they will come to the plant. So if there is no production or there is a reduction in the production, so what that additional workforce will do? So since they were on the permanent on the regular roles, so what the company had to do, they had to continuously go for the production. But when the production was continued, but sales got declined because of, or they lost the sales in the market, so what is the way out? Even for SAIL, people were not ready to buy the company's product even on credit. It was not possible even for the company to sell the product on credit, either to the distribution network or to the customers. So only option that left at that company at time to the company was that to store the product, finished goods and finished products, and ultimately that caused the mounting level of inventories. And when you see that when the production is continuous but sales have got stuck or they have halved from the 100% market earlier, if it is reducing by 40-45%, then what is happening? It means it's a big problem for the company, which is a very say large public sector company, and immediately suddenly they lost the sales. So only problem to the company, which the company even faced and facing even today, is that the company's financial health will get deteriorated, and slowly and steadily the company will become sick organization. And if that problem is not resolved as early as possible, then ultimately it may be required that company has to be closed down. So SAIL is, since then SAIL is striving hard to become a profit making organization, or to say come out of the situation of the or the say you can call it as state of sickness. But that is not possible because steel sector is open now for the private participation, private competition. They have better product, lesser prices, better distribution network, and SAIL being a public sector company lacks all these kinds of capabilities. So there was a problem that means that despite the fact that company wanted to extend the credits, it was not possible, that nobody was ready to buy company's product on even credit. So only option was that production, means no adjustment in the manufacturing process possible, so produce and store. So it means inventories started mounting, and that caused the sickness of the company, which even today still it is going on, and even today the Steel Authority of India, SAIL, is a loss making company. So that's the problem we face. So it means first option is either you adjust the manufacturing process or do something else. Second is bearing prices of the products. See, when companies sell on credit, when some companies sell on credit, their first objective is to maximize the market and retain their market position or expand the market position. After sufficiently selling for cash, now when they decide to sell on the credit, this is the precondition, and it has to be mutually agreed by both the sides, buyer and seller also, that the product being sold on credit will not be sold on the price as it is being sold on cash. It means the credit period which is being given or being allowed by the manufacturer to the customer or to the distribution network, that will be loaded with, that price will be loaded with the interest component which the manufacturer is supposed to pay to the lender from where they have got the funds to fund the credit sales. And if it is their own resources, it is coming from their own resources, then it also has the opportunity cost. So two prices cannot be same. Cash price has to be different and the credit price has to be different. Now sometimes company gives offers that okay, if you want to buy from us on cash, we'll pay you, we'll deliver you at this price. But if you want to buy on credit, we'll give you on this much. So varying prices are offered, and in that case, the seller is also not at loss, or maybe the manufacturer is also not at loss. One thing is that he is maximizing his sales, he is maximizing his market, or the market where he is in or the company is in, that is retaining its market share. So cash sales are cash sales, so immediately cash is coming as the delivery of the goods takes place. But in case of the credit sales, they are loading the price, basic price, with the interest component, which is either a opportunity cost or the cost of the capital they have to pay, which is used to fund the credit sales. So varying prices are there. So they vary the prices, and whichever the price is acceptable to the customer or maybe the distribution network, at that they can sell the product. But in both the cases, first the company's option remains sell maximum on the cash. After that, now when the cash buying on the cash capacity is over of the buyer or the distribution network, then after that the story of the credit sale begins, and then that is sold at the varying prices. So it means, and here also varying prices means depends upon the credit period. Somebody wants a credit period of 10 days, price will be different. Somebody wants the credit period of say 1 month, price will be different. And then the company has a standard policy of giving the credit sales for a period, and maximum period which the company has decided is 2 months. Then the price will be different for 2 months. But in every case, company is able to maximize its sales or retains its market share, and company is able to recover its price also, that is the basic price inclusive of all the cost plus interest cost also. So there is no problem to the company. So if you want no credit, you pay different price. If you want some credit, you pay different price. If you want moderate credit, you pay a different price, and if you want the longest credit of 2 months, you pay different price. So depending upon the market requirements, companies opt to give the credit, and that is causing the selling the product at the varying prices. But in any case, company doesn't want to keep the product in the warehouse. They don't want to mount the inventories. So it's always advisable to sell on the credit. So that's one option available with the company. This is the second option. Third option is formation of the customer queues or the product queues. Now for example, if the company is adjusting the manufacturing process somehow, so and the production goes down because there is a sufficient closing stock or the closing inventory, and immediately for example the demand picks up. So what will happen? Company has adjusted the manufacturing process, they have minimized the production, and whatever the material is there in the warehouse, in the inventory, if for example immediately that also goes to the market, so then there will be the problem of the customer queues. People want to buy the product as and when they want it, but the product is not there with the company, so customer queues will be there, which is also not good for the seller because it will create the out of stock or the stock out cost. So that is also not good for the manufacturer. So it means they want to go for the regular manufacturing process, sell on cash as well as on credit, or sometimes there is a product queue. If they don't adjust the manufacturing process, what will be there? There will be a product queue, and product queue will what will do? It will mount the inventories. So in both the cases, company has to see that there is no loss of reputation, there is no loss of revenue, there is no loss of profitability, and their ROI is maximized. So out of these first three options, last option is LR receivables. So means adjusting manufacturing process is also not good. If they do it, then either there will be customer queues or there will be product queues, and varying prices if it is possible. Again, then the outcome is selling on the credit, that if when buying on cash capacity is over, maybe for the distribution network or for the customer, then they would like to buy on credit, and companies have no other option but to sell on credit. So because of this, just means the bottom line is companies want to run their operations smoothly. No fluctuations in the operating process is desirable. No ups and downs in the manufacturing process is desirable. So if these say situation of this kind of the situation is there, then they have to resort to selling on the credit, so that production is continuous, sale is continuous, inventory is minimum, and there is no either the customer queues or the product queues. So smooth operations, allow credits. Second motive can be, there are quite interesting motives. Second motive can be marketing motive. Second motive can be marketing motive. Now, marketing motive is also there because ultimate purpose of every company is to manufacture and sell maximum in the market, expand the market. So, today we are in one market, we want to go to the other market because there are different markets geographically also, and otherwise also there are the different segments of the market, means demographically also there are the different segments of the market. So, if we are in one market, we will move to the other market. Say we are an Indian company, we are operating currently, for example, in 3 states. Now we thought that we have reached at a saturation point in 3 states. Now let's move to the 4th state or 5th or 6th state. We want to enter 3 more states. So initially the product may not be possible to be sold on the cash and to meet the targets of the company. So what they do? They give the credits. They develop the habit to the distributors also, amongst the distributors also, and amongst the buyers also. And when the people start buying this company's product, when people start buying this any company's product in the new market, maybe for the first time, then and if they like the product, then there is a demand for the product, and after that company may reduce the component of credit sales and company may increase the component of cash sales. So for example, we discuss a small story of, you might have heard about a product which is a detergent, which is a washing powder under the brand name of Nirma. Nirma, when it was for the first time developed, the product was manufactured and developed by Mr. Karsan Bhai in Gujarat. Initially he thought of developing this product and he developed it also. He developed the product also, but he was not sure about whether it will be acceptable to the people in the market or not. So because he had to face a big competition from the multinational company named as HLL. At that time it was HLL, today it is called as HUL, Hindustan Unilever. At that time it was Hindustan Lever Limited. So he was expecting that at that time the largest market share of the washing powders and cakes was with the HLL or HUL. And if this kind of the product comes in the market, because at that time to the premium segment, HLL was providing surf, and for the lower segment they were providing one product which was named as Sunlight. But even the Sunlight was beyond the reach of the common man. So then Karsan Bhai thought of that if I develop a washing powder which is comparable to Sunlight, not at least surf, and if I price it means at the lowest possible, that will be acceptable to the people. So he developed the product and he started distributing it free of cost. First he distributed to his neighbor, then in his own street where he was living. Then when the response was very good, he started giving it to his say relatives and some other near and dears. And when everybody responded very well, response was very good, wonderful, then he started formally selling the product in the market. So it means initially it is free sale, and then when the product was accepted and it was successful in the market. Now you see today the Nirma is a popular brand name of India, but they have started their story by selling the product free of cost in the market. So here we are talking about free of cost. Sometimes many big companies also do this, start selling the product or passing on the product to the customers free of cost, or sometime they then move to the next level, that is selling on credit. And once the product is established in the market, there is a sufficient and significant market for the product. After that then they change the proportions of cash and the credit sales. So one thing is, as the marketing motive, to break into the new market or the competitive market, we have to sell sometime more on credit, less on cash, and the position can be replaced later on. Second is, monitoring and carrying cost will go up. We agree that when we are going under the marketing motive and selling more on the credit, there has to be a specialized department or special department to be created in the company, which is known as the credit sales department. Because when you are selling on credit, when you are selling on the credit, you have to recover that credit sales also. So to receive the orders, pass on the orders, means meeting the requirement of the people, then maintaining the total records, then say preserving the invoices, and then say sending the notices when the payment is due if it is not paid by the buyer, and then making sure that yes, on the payment is received on the due date. When all these things have to be done, the companies have to create a specialized department which is known as the credit sales department or the debt collection department, right. So the cost goes up. That has to be there. That cost will go up, certainly that cost will go up. But anyway, when you are prepared to sell on the credit, the companies are prepared to have that department also, because selling is one part, but collecting the credit sales is another part, and people who are doing this job only, for that we have to create the specialized department. So what will happen? The cost of the credit sales will go up. That's why I am telling you prices are different. Prices are different. For the cash sales the price is different, and the credit sales the price is different. But to deal with this cost component part, companies normally treat it as the promotional cost, because otherwise also the company has to spend on advertising of their product. So partly they can advertise in the market, and partly the cost of maintaining a sales collection department or debt collection department plus some other costs associated to it, means the financial cost that is used as a loading factor to recover the cost of capital. This total cost can be treated by the company as the promotional cost or the promotional expense or advertising expense, or maybe that every company has the advertising budget. So the part which is being required by the company to meet its maintaining the sales collection department or for recovering the cost of capital, that can be met, and if any amount is left, that can be used for further advertising the product in the market. So these are the two important motives, operating motive and the marketing motives for selling on the credit in the market or extending credit in the market and creating the accounts receivables. We will continue the discussion furthermore. Means most important motive is the financial motive that I will discuss with you in the next class. Thank you very much.